Hello friends, welcome back to Spiritual Morsels. Some time back, I had visited my daughter's school. They had an event. It was called the Wax Museum Day. What happened on that day was, all throughout the school, kids were dressed up like a historical figure, either like a scientist or a political leader. And they were all made to stand on a pedestal all through the corridors. And as visitors, as we would go them, they were standing like a statue, like figures in a wax museum. And as we would go there, we could see who they were written on the pedestal that they were standing, and we could easily make out who they were from the way they were dressed up. The teachers did an amazing job in dressing them up. And if we wanted to know more about them, a visitor could just touch the child. If the moment we touched, the child would turn from a statue, come to life, and the child would start talking. I am so and so, I was born in so and so date, and this is what I did, this is what I contributed to the society, and then I died in so and so date, and then they go back to being a statue. It was fun watching the kids do that. So I was like going from kid to kid, touching each kid and learning about them, and it was fun interacting with the kids. And soon I saw a child dressed up like Jesus a few feet away, and I was not sure if it was Jesus. I just wanted to make sure, so I went there, and yes, on his pedestal it was written Jesus Christ. And so I touched him just to see what he had to say. And he comes to life, and he's like, I am Jesus Christ. I was born 2000 years ago on the day of Christmas. And then he goes on to say how he healed the sick and how he raised many from the dead. And then finally he said, and I died on the day of Good Friday. And then he goes back to being a statue. So then I asked him, what happened after that? So he looked at me and he's like, I died on Good Friday. I said, yes, I know. But what happened after that? So he thought I was kind of trying to have some fun with him. And so he started laughing. And I asked him, who taught you these lines? And he said, it was my teacher. I said, did the teacher tell you anything else? He's like, what else is there to say? I died on Good Friday. That's it. So I told him, yes, usually everybody's story ends with their death, but not with Jesus. The story of Jesus did not end with his death. After he died on the third day, he rose again from the dead. So this kid, he really thought I was kind of, being funny. But then I told him, like, on the third day, have you noticed on the calendar what comes after Good Friday? It's Easter. On the day of Easter, Jesus rose again from the dead. And this kid, I saw his eyes go wide. He said, I've always heard of Easter, but I never knew Jesus came back from the dead on the day of Easter. I said, yes, that's what happened. And just like this child, 99% of the people all around the world who don't know Jesus have never heard that Jesus has come back to life. They must have heard, there are chances of them knowing what Good Friday is, because many of them have a holiday on Good Friday, either in their schools or colleges or their offices. And so they have an idea, okay, something happened on Good Friday. And so they would have heard from their friends that Good Friday is the day when Jesus died. But many of them don't know that Jesus rose again from the dead and that he is alive today. In the book Gospel of John, in chapter 17, Jesus, while talking to the Father when he's praying, in verse 4, he says something. He says, I have brought you glory on earth by completing the work you gave me to do. So the Father gave the Son a work to do on earth. What was the work? God the Father told God the Son to go down on earth as a human baby, live on earth without any sin, and carry the burden of sin of the entire humanity upon him, and pay the price for their salvation by laying down his own life. Pay it with his own life. And then on the third day, defeating death and defeating Satan, rise up from the dead and come back to life. This was the mandate, this was the duty that the Father had given the Son to do. And over here, Jesus says that I have brought you glory on earth by completing the work you gave me to do. He completed every single work that the Father gave him to do. He came to this earth as a human. He lived on earth without sin. And he healed the sick, he raised the dead, and he died for the entire humanity by paying the price for our salvation. And he rose again from the dead on the third day. Now, there is something that Jesus tells us in the Gospel of John, chapter 20, verse 21. He says, "As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." So, Jesus, as the Father sent him, he fulfilled all that the Father sent him to do. And he says, "As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." My dear friends, my dear brothers and sisters, Jesus fulfilled what the Father sent him to do. Are we fulfilling what he sent us to do? Are we telling our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors about him? That's the only thing Jesus expects from us. And if we do that, Jesus says, "I brought you glory on earth by doing what you sent me to do." And so he says, "As the Father sent me, I am sending you." So if we do what he sent us to do, we are bringing him glory on earth. So, dear friends, I just want to encourage you this weekend, this Good Friday, Easter weekend, why don't we make a decision and tell the Lord that, "Father, or Jesus, I'm going to do what you send me to do. Give me the grace, give me the wisdom, the strength, the courage to do what you sent me to do, so that I can share about you to others. I can tell others what you did in my life. And by doing that, we will bring him glory." God bless you.